Hi everyone, welcome back to Crochet Rocks. My name's Tracy, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make this fingerless mitten. Well, it's a fingerless glove. It's not quite got a top on it, but you can go all the way and make a little top to this, and so it's a proper mitten. This one I've made it so that it shapes, because quite often I'll make a fingerless mitten and find that it after a while gets really baggy along here, and it annoys me a little bit. So I've put more of a thumb in and I've come right up. Now you could, as I say, just keep decreasing. Once you get into the pattern, you'll see if you kept decreasing you could just close it in and make a proper mitten. So this is made with a ribbed bottom, and I'm going to show you how we do that. And this is the Crochet Rocks Stitch, which I invented quite some time ago now. I like it because it naturally has this widening effect, so you don't have to increase it, just naturally does is a wider stitch, so it fits the palm of your hand nicely. Plus it's a nice tight stitch, so it's not really holy, and therefore it can keep you nice and warm. So I'm going to pause the video and get ready to show you how to do this. If you haven't already, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and you'll be informed when there are new videos coming and new live streams, etc. Also, there's going to be a left-handed version of this, and I'll put a link from each to the other, so that if you're in the wrong one you only have to click on it and it will take you to the right one. So I'm just going to pause this now while I get all my materials ready. Okay, so I'm using this yarn. It's a 3-weight DK, and it's called Jaipur. It's 100% acrylic, and it's where's the shade? Number 6. That's the only thing I can tell you about it. I got it from Hobbii. I like this colourway. It's nice, and it reminds me of, it's kind of jewelled. That's what it reminds me of. I've also got this one, which I do love as well, but I'm using this one for now, and I'm using a 4mm crochet hook. I'm trialling the tulip, etimo and rose, but I can't find it at the moment. It's stuck in a project somewhere. I've also got a darning needle and a pair of scissors. So this is made with the foundation, in the UK terms it would be a foundation treble crochet. In the US it's a foundation double crochet, and I'll show you how to do that now. So we're going to leave a nice long tail, because the way this is made, there is a little tiny join to sew up, and this is where the join was here, and so there'll be a little opening about that big, and so if you leave a nice long tail you can just use it to close it with. So that's what I'm going to do now. We just need to make a slip knot, and you can do that however you make your slip knot. Okay, so to do the foundation treble crochet, which is the UK term, or the foundation double crochet, which is the US, we start by making 2 chain. So there's the first chain, and there's the second. Now I hope you're going to not have too much trouble seeing this, because this yarn is very colourful. So now we're going to do our treble crochet or double crochet US, and we're going to go into that very first chain, and we want to make sure that we go through 2 loops, not 1 loop. So we're going to yarn over and pull through, and we have, just need to put that over there for a second so it gets a bit confusing with the tail. So we've got 3 on our hook. So now we're going to yarn over and go through 1 of them. It's hard to do that with the camera in the way. So there we are, we've got, that's like 1 chain, and I'm going to hold on to it. So we've still got our 3 on the hook, which is difficult to see with the colours. We're going to yarn over, go through 2, yarn over and go through 2, just the same as we would if we were doing, I'm going to loop that round there, hopefully it won't cause me any problems, just the same if we were doing a normal double crochet in the US or treble crochet in the UK. So now I'm going to go into that very first chain that we made, and I'm going to go through the 2 loops, and I'm going to yarn over and pull up a loop. So I've got my 3 on my hook again. I'm going to yarn over and I'm going to pull through 1 to make the chain. Now it helps if I hold on to that, and then I just continue to make my stitch. And then I'm going to do it all over again, yarn over, and I'm going to go into that chain that I've just created. But I need to go through 2 loops, and the reason for that, if you don't, see, if you're going through 2 loops, you get this nice edge, nice and neat. But if you don't, then it starts to get very baggy and odd looking and unruly, and we don't want that. So we're going to pull through. So we've got 3 on our hook. We're going to yarn over and pull through 1, making the chain, holding on to that, yarn over and finish our stitch. So that's all we're going to do, and I'm going to carry on until we've got 30 all together. So I'm going to yarn over and go into that first chain that I've just created. I can find it, there it is. And I need to go through the 2 loops, and then I'm going to make 1 chain. Helps to hold it so you know where to find it, and then we can go straight into it. So just let go, and as long as we go through the 2 loops, then that's fine. So I'm going to carry on making my foundation treble crochets or foundation double crochets, depending on which side of the pond you are, until I have a total of 30, and then I will come back to you. So I'm going to pause the video and come back once I have 30. Okay, so I've now got a total of 30 foundation treble crochets or foundation doubles, and I'm going to now make it into a ring. But I will say that the last time I made these gloves, I made them with this yarn from Poundland, and this yarn from Poundland, I only needed 26 foundation trebles to make the gloves. For some reason this yarn does not stretch as much as others, so what you need to do is really judge how much you need for your cuff. Now we're doing this foundation stitch because it has a lot of elasticity, so it will go over this fatter part of your hand. When I say fatter, I mean just wider. So but it will pull it into a cuff. This will pull it tight. So but it does actually allow you to pull it over your hand and fit over your hand at the same time. So you may need to do fewer for your size, so that's fine. Just work on the basis of one. If you look at it and you double it, it looks a little bit wide around. It just fits like nice and sort of kind of snug at the moment, but it will tighten, so it won't look, it just meets now, and that's perfect because it will tighten. So how we join this now, I'll put my hook back in, and we get hold, oh sorry, just bashed my light, we get hold of it and we bring it round. So this part is at the bottom and we're making a circle, and how we're going to do that is we're not going to join it with a slip stitch or anything. We're going to join it with a front post treble crochet, and we're going to go round these 2 chain, the very first 2 chain that you made, before we go around anything else. So we yarn over and we go around the back of that chain and through our stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, and then we're going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So don't worry that they're a little disjointed, That's fine. Now we're going to do front post treble crochets or front post double crochets across the pond in every one of these stitches. So I'm hoping you can see them. I can see them anyway. I'm just going to yarn over, insert my hook to this side of the stitch, come up through the other side, yarn over and pull it through. So I have 3 stitches on my hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. And we're going to do that, just get rid of that tail, in every single one around. So I'm going to yarn over, go this side of the stitch, come up the other side, yarn over and pull through. 3 on my hook. I grant you this red hook is not the easiest thing to see the stitches, but I couldn't find my other one, and I believe it was rose anyway, so I might be able to find a different colour. Just pause it and see if I have one handy. I believe this one's a 4.25, but it's not going to make a great deal of difference. So hopefully it's a little bit better colour match. So again, I'm going to go around that stitch. It's still gold coloured, so it might be slightly better than the red though. And I'm just going to do that in every single one of these stitches all the way around. Just go around the back of them and make my stitch. And that's what they're going to look like. Just pull out some more yarn. And I'll show you another one. So we've been through this one, so I'm going through the next one, which is here. I'm going to go this side of the stitch, come up around the other side. And now my stitches are gold coloured because I have a gold coloured hook. Maybe should have shown you on plain yarn. I think that kind of is better. And just keep going. Sorry I hit the camera. Trying to get as close as I can so that you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to do that in every single stitch all the way round. So I'm going to pause the video, just go through each and every one of them all the way around until we get back here, and I'll show you what to do next. Right, I've made it all the way around and I've managed to find a green crochet hook, so I'm hoping that this will work out better for you. So then once you get to this point, if I make that longer and I pull this so that it meets, then you can see that that's now back, and that's what it will look like once we join it. But we're not going to do that. We're just going to keep going in a circle, just keep going in a spiral, should I say. So we're going to keep going into the next stitch and doing our front post stitch, and we're just going to do that in every single one of them all the way. And it's a bit difficult because it's getting really hot in here. I find it easier to hold it like this and to go into the side of the stitch when I'm doing it, just to pop it through like that. Just goes through nicely. So we're just going to carry on going round and round and round, not slip stitching or joining in any way, just going in a spiral. And we're going to carry on, and we're going to do this until our cuff measures the right length. Now when you're doing your first one, you just decide, yes, I've now got enough. When you're doing your second one, obviously it has to match this one. So if you turn it in the other way, you can, like a tree, you can read the rings. So I think this is 8 rows. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 ridges. So that, including that bottom one, is 8 rows. So that's how, but you can just hold it up against it, because once you can see that this row here where it starts to come out, this one here is the first row of our stitch, and all of these are our back front post stitch, sorry, getting them around the wrong way, but that's just a way of making sure. So just carry on going in a spiral until your cuff measures the width you want on the first one, or it matches up with the first one when you're doing the second. So I'm going to pause it now and I'm going to make my cuff, and I shall come back to you when I have the correct amount of rows, which I believe are 8. So I'll offer it up and make sure once I've done them, but I think it was 8 rows that I did, because I have starting from the beginning. If you start it from the very first one, it counts 8. So I'm going to pause it now and come back to you once I've done the cuff. Right, so I've made it so that my cuff measures the same width as the other one, and I've been careful to finish on, so this is my join, and if you trace it up, I've finished on exactly the same stitch as the one I started with. So what I'm going to do is slip stitch into the very next one. Let's get that around my finger. Slip stitch into that one, and then by pulling that down a little bit, you can see that it just flattens out. So now I'm going to start my crochet rock stitch. Now we started with 30 stitches, and by going into the 2 chain we ended up with 31. So what I'm going to do is a very small chain, because I don't want ever to mistake that for a stitch. So in this first one, I'm going to do my very first crochet rock stitch, and you do that by yarning over, going into the stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. So we have 3 on our hook, yarn over and pull through 2. So we have 2 on our hook, go back into the same stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. So we're back to 3, yarn over and pull through all of them, and we're going to do that in every single stitch along. So that's yarn over into the next stitch, yarn over and pull up the loop, yarn over, pull through 2, back into the same stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3. Again, we're going to do it into the next stitch. Hopefully we don't have any more green colours coming through. So that's yarn over into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, back into that same stitch, yarn over and pull up the loop, yarn over, pull through all 3, and that is the crochet rock stitch. And it's, as I said before, it's a nice wide stitch because we're going back in, and it creates this nice wide part of the glove, so it means you don't have to do any increasing. We just carry on making, hang on, let me just pull out some more yarn. Just carry on, and I'm really sorry, but whatever colour hook I get, this yarn clashes with it in some way, so I hope you can see what I'm doing. And so that's yarn going through 2 again, back in, yarn over and pull through all 3. So I'm just going to carry on with that all the way along until I get back to the start. And so I'm going to pause the video, and I will catch up with you when I've gone all the way around, and I'll show you what we do next. So I've gone all the way around now, and now we're going to, from now on, we're going to slip stitch in to our first one, and not be working in a spiral anymore. So we're going to just work in our rounds. So that's my first round. You see it kind of pulls out a little bit, which is why it's like once it's done, it's making this lovely wider part. So what you need to do to make this fit you is keep trying it. Now for me, to get to the point where I need to make my thumb, if I put this on, it was 6 rows. This part was 6 rows, and then it was time for me to make a thumb. But if you've got bigger hands, then you might want 7 rows or 8 rows. You just need to put it on, and then you will see where you're, if you go like this, it will actually be in the right spot. So it's just a way of making sure it fits you. For me, as I said, it was 6 rows. You can do 6 if that's what you want to do, just want to do the same as me. But you could have much bigger hands than me or smaller ones. So that's how you kind of judge your size. The same way as I showed you with this cuff, if it goes around your wrist nice and loosely, it will be a nice cuff because it will pull tight. So now I'm just going to carry on. I'm going to make one small chain again because I don't want it to be mistaken for a stitch at any point, and I'm going to go in that same stitch I've joined and do my first crochet rock stitch, and then I'm going to go in each one all the way around. So it's ever so simple now. We're just going in every single stitch and doing another one on top of it, just like that, and I will do a total of 6 rows. So I'm going to pause it and I will come back to you once I've done my 6 rows. Right, so I've done my 6 rows and it's the same measurement to the thumb. So that's how many rows it takes to be the right height for my thumb. So how I did that was just put it on, try not to get my thumb caught in the stitch, and then you can see that now it's time to start the thumb. And how I decided how big I needed my thumb was just purely doing that, and it worked out for me that 7 stitches was big enough for my thumb. So you need to do that for yourself, just in case you have slimmer fingers than I do or bigger ones. If you put it on, then you will see how many stitches just by doing that kind of pinching as I just did. I'll do it again. You just kind of hold it like this and you'll see you don't want it loose. There's nothing worse than it being loose. Snug is better because it will give, because of it being yarn, it will kind of give. So 7 stitches around was fine for me. I just counted them round. So now what we do, put my hook in. I have tried a variety of colours of hook and they all clash somehow. So I'm going to do my last slip stitch into there. So what I do now is this is now going to be my thumb. So I'm going to count my stitches from there. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's my 7th, that red one. So I'm just going to, I did it the other way around before, kind of pulled it through like this, which is probably for the better. Just pull the, hold on to my yarn, you want to let me get it, and just pull my loop through there. So now I've got 7 stitches for the thumb, and I'm just going to do a chain, and now I'm going to work around these stitches only and ignore the thumb for now. So what I've got now is from here I work, just bear with me a second when I check on my notes because I did write it down as I go. That's right, so I've got 6 rows from here. So my first 2 rows I just do 1 in each stitch, and I have 24 stitches around this part and 7 around the thumb. So I'm going to carry on as I did with this for 2 rows without any increases, decreases or anything, just by going into each stitch exactly the same as before, and I will have 24 stitches, and I'm going to do that for 2 rows. So for 2 rows I will keep my 24 stitches, and I will do my slip stitch into here just as I did on all of these rounds. So I'm just going to go in every single stitch as I did before. So I'm going to pause the video because you don't really need to see that so much. So I'm going to pause it, and I will come back to you when I've got all the way around. Remember, we're ignoring these stitches here. We're just concentrating on this round part here now. So I'm going to do my stitches, and when I get to the end here, I'll come back to you. Okay, so I've just gone into my very last stitch, my 24th, and I'm going to slip stitch into my first one, just as I did before, and I'm going to chain 1 but keep it nice and small because I don't want to confuse it for a stitch, and I'm going to do another row before I do any decreasing. So again, in the same stitch, and start my round as normal with my same crochet rock stitch. So I'm going to pause it, and again I will come back to you when I get back to the start. It's just purely 2 rounds without any shaping at all, and just going in each one. So I'm all the way around again, and this is my last one. So I'm just going to slip stitch into my first stitch again to complete my round. Now I've got two rounds of just no shaping at all. So now I'm going to decrease 1 at the beginning of every round for the next 4 rounds. So I'm just at the end of it, I'm going to have 20 stitches. So I'm going to do my chain, and I'm going to, this is how I'm going to do a decrease. It's not keeping in with the stitch, but I'm going to go yarn over and pull up a loop. So I've got my 3 on my hook, and I'm going to go into my next stitch and pull up a loop, and I'm going to yarn over and pull through all of them, and it doesn't notice that it's different, honestly. So then I'm just going to carry on as normal, going in every other stitch exactly the same as we've done it all the way through, all the way to the end. I have trouble leaning on my own yarn. I don't know why. Didn't seem to have this trouble on a table. Just need to find some kind of contraption to help me keep it out of the way. So just keep going in every single stitch, and I'll catch up with you when we get back to here. But really all we're going to do, as I said to you before, is decrease 1 at the beginning of the next, this and the next 3 rows. So it's 4 altogether. I'll show you again this time, and then I will probably pause it to the end. So I'm just going to pause it now, and I shall catch up with you when I get back to the start. Yes, I'm almost back. I've got 1 more to do into that last one there. That'll be now 23 stitches. And now I'm just going to slip stitch into the start as I did before, do 1 small chain, and then I'm going to go into that same stitch by pulling up my 3rd loop, and then just go into the next one and pull all through all 4 of those, and then by the end of this round I'll have 22 stitches. I'm going to repeat it twice more, and then at the end of that I'll have 20 stitches. So I shall do this round and my next 2. I'll pause the video and come back to you once I have my 20 stitches. Okay, so I've made it all the way to my 4th row, and I've got 20 stitches. So I'm just going to slip stitch into the start, and now I'm going to end off. So I'm going to leave a nice long tail to do my sewing in. And to end off, I'm just going to do a chain, cinch it down really low, and then pull it through. So now you've got, some people leave their fingerless gloves like that and just have the thumb sticking out of here, but I'm not really keen on that. I like to have a little bit of a thumb so that it comes up to about here. So what I do now is I get my yarn and I'm going to join it in this part of the thumb. So I'm just going to find a stitch and I'm going to like just go into that part actually, because it's more of an anchor, and I'm going to pull through a loop, and my first stitch I'm going to do a chain using the working yarn and my tail. So I'm going to have both of them form my chain and then just drop that tail. Now this is where it's going to look a little difficult to see, because I'm now going to just be working, I'm going to try and zoom, going to just be working on these little stitches that are around this thumb hole, which are very difficult to see, but there they are, all around there. So just don't worry about the fact that there are 2 stitches on my hook. That's just the first one, and we're going to not worry about that. So I'm going to, there's my first stitch, this red one. So I'm going to drop the tail, as I said, and I'm going to just carry on as normal with an extra light stitch on my hook. And I'm going to work over the tail as I go, but be very careful only to go through one side of your thumb hole. So I've got my 3 on the hook. Don't want to go for all of them, do I? So I'm just going to do exactly the same stitch as before, exactly the same, and then I'm going to go into the next stitch, which is here. Just see it, work over my tail at the same time. You don't have to if you find it hard to see, but I'm just going to get rid of it. There we are, and I think I've zoomed a little bit too much. So just going to go in all 7 stitches all the way around, just the same as I was before. Nothing different. Just exactly the same. It's a little tricky because it is small. So I've got 2 more to do. There's my first one. And there's my next one. Okay, so now we're back here, and all I have to do now is to slip stitch into my very first one. Get rid of that tail, just poke it in for now. There we are. And I'm going to chain 1, nice and small, and go in each one of my stitches again, so that I've got 2 rounds of this thumb, just 2 rows. I'll show you. Where's my finished one? And it just gives you enough. There's, see, they've got 1 there and 1 there, just 2 rounds around the thumb. It's easier to do it when you're not showing somebody, obviously. So, you know, when you're holding it the way you want to hold it, it won't be as tricky as I'm making it look. It's only tricky because, you know, I'm holding it so you can see it. And just carry on until you've done all 7. I've lost count actually. But it should be fairly obvious when I get back to the start. I'm really sorry that the hook's not a silver hook. I did try my best to find one. And I said it would be fairly obvious to see when you get back to the start. There it is, I think. Just bear with me a second while I just have a look at what I'm doing. Just want to make sure I've got the right amount. There it is. It's because it's so small. So how many have I got left to do? I've got 1, 2 more stitches. It's easier to see them when you push the others out the way. There's my last one. Goodness, it's fiddly. It's not so much when you're doing it. Hang on, pull out a little bit of yarn. Might help. Last one. And now I've just got to slip stitch into the beginning stitch, which is there. Lord, that's hard to get at. There we are. Slip stitch there. Now I'm going to leave a nice big long tail to sew it in, and I will have 3 ends to sew in. So I'm just going to cinch that off. So there we go, we've got our thumb, but this is the one. I'm going to turn it inside out just for now. It doesn't matter if it's not all imperfect, just to get at this. Let's go down a little bit. Oh, it's up. No, it isn't. It was down. So yeah, I'm just going to get at this end so that I can sew it. So I've got my darning needle, my nice long tail, and I'll thread all that. The others can be just sewn in as normal, but this one, we have to close this gap that we started with. So I'm just going to catch the corresponding stitch that side and just close it up all the way along. I'm going to just knot that. We're going back through the loop and giving it a tug, and then I just need to sew that in so it's not visible. Go one way and I'll go back the other way. I usually sew it a few times, it's not come through the other side, and I'm going to go back once the other way again just to be on the safe side, and I'll go back through there. Just bear with me a moment while I get that in the right place and just snip that off. And now we've closed that, I'll just pop it in the right way to show you. So now that's the join is all closed and you can't really see where it was. So I'm just going to pop it on, and that will help stretch it out a little bit. Just bear with me a moment. Move the tags out of the way. Oops. And I've got the other one. Just need to sew in my ends, but there we are. 2 identical gloves. You just need to be mindful of the fact that you get this part, the first part around your wrist. If you get that right in the first place, then you will have the right size cuff, and then match up the 2 cuffs as your, so that they're exactly the same height. And then the next bit you've got to measure on yourself is where your thumb starts, and then from there on you've got your 2 rows without shaping, and then your 4 rows with the shaping, and just 2 rows of 7 around your thumb, and that's it, all done. Thank you for watching, hope you've enjoyed that, and I'm sorry again that the hooks were all a little bit of a clash, but it's because it's such multicoloured yarn. I think maybe a plain coloured yarn next time I'm going to do a tutorial, but I just wanted to use this because I thought it was such lovely yarn, this Jaipur. and especially this one. I love this colour. I love them both actually. But so yes, thanks so much for watching. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe. Bye for now, everyone.